Next step, I'm going to make the strings for the pull string system. I'm going to use bedroom wire, which is metal strands, 7 metal strands wrapped in plastic. It's very strong. It's not elastic, which is very important. But one of the problems that people tend to do when using these strings is that they make the loops at the end sort of round and loopy, which makes them work like a spring in themselves. So they actually cause a spring back behavior from the tails. When you have aerodynamic loads, it's actually stretch and it just sort of does this. So you have some springiness from the wire working against the springiness in the tail, and basically it reduces the strength of the effective spring in the middle. It's like connecting two springs with something in the middle. So it basically sort of floats in the middle. Now, when you're changing one of the springs into a strong wire, basically you can push on the string, but you can't pull on it. So when I'm making the ends of the string, I need to get rid of the loop. In order to do this, I take my tweezers and I make a 90-degree bend, and then I make, okay, I hope that you can see this, a 90-degree bend. And then I am using them to make another 90-degree bend. This way, I'm just gonna, and I hope it comes out across from the camera. This way I get the string when it's pulled, it works against the bend, and there's no springiness in the line. Okay, I'm using this instead of using something like this, which has springiness in it. Okay, now there are a lot of different ways to do it. Some people like to crimp it. I don't like crimping it. I have my own method. I'm using a sewing thread, and I'm basically wrapping the end with the sewing thread, and I'm putting some thin CA on it. Now the thread then bonds to the plastic, and that just makes everything just a little bit easier. Makes it very strong. I get a very strong bond. It's light, it's comfortable, it doesn't get snagged on anything, and that's how I like to do it. So then I add just a drop of CA, and then I remove all the leftovers. End result is this. Now, next step is to thread it. I'm going to use this one for the elevator. What I'm doing is I am hooking it up on the back end, so when I thread it through the fuselage it doesn't fall through, and then I thread it through the back, This is sometimes if it's has a little leftover circular behavior from being on the spool and being wrapped, so then I can straighten it out a bit. What it does, it just bends and it snags on the carbon on the inside. So I've straightened it out. I hope that you can see how that it's straightened now, and now I'm gonna put it in again. You see, now it goes in much easier. Next stage is to fish it out of the center. Now I am because the rudder is on the right side, the rudder horn is on the right side of the fuselage, you want to have the string on the right side, and the elevator I want it on the left side. So I'm fishing it out of, I hope you saw this, I'm fishing it out of the slots in the fuselage. Okay, so I've fished it out. Now I'm pulling on it, and now you can see I have it here going all the way. Now I'm feeling something snagging on the back. It may be snagging, yeah, it's snagging on the screw. So what I'm going to do before I set up the servo, I'm going to shorten the back screw. These are different screws than the one Dennis has in his kits. It's just they're Phillip heads, and I like the Phillip heads, but they're usually a bit on the long side. So I'll shorten the front screw as well afterwards. Now it's moving okay. Next thing, I am going to thread the string. There are it's going to be a little bit difficult to see from this angle, but there is a tube that's glued just at the corner here, and I am going to thread the string into that tube. Let's do it with the tweezers. Okay, so now it's going in, and it's coming out of the front. These tubes are designed to allow to basically hold the string on the side and to allow you to thread them through the fuselage without getting hung on the push rods. Okay, and now the wire is on the side. It's etched Teflon tubes, and so they stick really well to the fuselage, and they come pre-installed. So now I need my servo arms. and my servo tester and the battery. Here's my servo tester. Let's find the lead for the elevator. It should be this one. Yeah. Hope that you'll be able to see this now. Okay, so I have my servo tester and battery set up. I'm checking to see, and it moves the elevator. The elevator servo. I have it now centered. I'm going to put the servo arm in position. Okay, just checking to see that what I'm filming is, you can actually see it. Now what I'm doing is I'm taking the line. The line will go from the top. Fish it out from the bottom. Okay, it needs some help in order to move. I put a battery in the nose so it doesn't topple over. Okay, now in order for this to not pop off when I'm working on it, I'm going to put the servo screw on just lightly, and I am going to straighten the elevator. Okay, I'm checking to see that the arm isn't too high, otherwise I need to move the tray. Remember, it's only glued in 4 places. We want to have a little bit more down movement than up, so I am, when the servo is centered, I'm giving it just a tiny amount of down, elevator a couple of millimeters, no more. And now what I need to do is I'm pressing on the wire so that this side also gets a bend. So I'm using my tweezers to basically squash the wire, the string. Now what I am doing, I now have a 2 millimeters, 1 or 2 millimeters of the elevator down. It's not completely straight, it's a little bit down, and I have my line set up. It should be going above the push rod. Okay, I will need to check and see that it's not tangled in any way, and I will do that in a second. It's not tangled around the push. You know what I'll do? I'll actually remove the push rod. So that I am sure that it isn't in the way. To remove the push rod, you just need to pull it out. If you twist it, it won't come out because it ends up too high. So you need to pull it without twisting it. Now let's see where we were. Okay, now I'm taking some thick CA. And I'm using a drop to glue both lines one to another. Giving it a few seconds to set. And now, before I finish the crimping of the wire and everything, I will check. I'll put this on manual. Oh. servo went too far and popped the wire off. So I'm gonna repeat what I just did. Okay, so now I'm centering it manually, and I have up elevator and down until it reaches the bottom of the fuselage. I want to be able to get maximum down travel, so I want to be able to get to the bottom of the elevator, the fuselage, and I have a lot of movement here. So that's not a problem with this servo, because this servo moves more than some others. And if you want to reduce the amount of movement, get a little better resolution, you can always drill another hole and get it in a bit closer, and I am thinking maybe I will do that, because right now I am getting about 50 millimeters of up elevator, which is a lot. So I'm going to drill another hole closer. All I need is I'm flying with about 8 millimeters of up elevator. Let's say I want 10, and to reach the bottom of the fuselage. So the servo will be a little bit slower, but I'll have better resolution. So that's something that I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna stop the clip, and then I will drill another hole and repeat the process that I just did. And after that I will also do the rudder string, and afterwards I will show you how I finish setting up the fuselage, the servos in the fuselage.